Hello, everyone. This is Professor James Koshar, your Management 368 Business Ethics Instructor, coming to you from Berryville, Virginia, right outside of Winchester. Think Highway 81 here in Northern Virginia on this Saturday. Goodness, the 29th of October. I have 1:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you're doing well. Hey, what I like to do is I attempt to endeavor to push out a YouTube video to this my classes every week, just going over a little bit about the week prior and what's coming up. So that's what I endeavor to do. Good afternoon again. I'm wearing my black Pelican sweater from the Outer Banks. And just want to talk about the class a little bit, expectations, etc. First off is that a couple of things. Always refer to your course syllabus for any questions. Experiment around, look around in the content area. Don't be afraid of it. You're not going to break anything. Open things up, look at them. Next thing you need to know is if you have a question and you don't know who to get help from, you contact me, okay? You contact me and you're not bothering me, all right? I get paid the big bucks, right, to make sure that the course is instructed effectively and that students are assisted, okay? If you send me an email, do me a big favor, and in your email, like if you've got a question or an issue, a problem, that first sentence should state it. You don't have to write me a big preamble or story and then get to what you're asking for. In the first sentence, let me know how I can help you or what your question is. We have 20 great students in this class. We've got a full class. 4 haven't checked in yet. Hope they will. And I want to talk about, I guess, the course. First off is, as you see, when we go week to week, and the weeks go by quickly, don't they? We'll be in week 2 already on Monday. In the discussion area, what I'm looking for is your initial post, right? And then respond to 2 other classmates. You've got the whole week to do that, okay? But please don't try to get caught up at 11:30 on a Sunday night. That doesn't do anyone any help at all. All right. In your, particularly when you respond to, generally everyone does a good job on an initial post. It's when they respond to classmates, they'll say things like, don't put down, "Hey Carrie, good job." Period. What does that mean? Good job with what? You agree with what? Or. So critical thinking, right? When you respond to a classmate, to a posting that they have, I'm looking for at least, give me 3 sentences, right? Your observation about they wrote, why, and another observation from you, either something new on your part, or another observation or comment about what they wrote. That's at least 3 sentences. Wow, that's 30 words. Not a big deal. Spend a little time on that. Okay. Couple other things. We've got a lot of papers in this class, etc. I know you know this, but I have to say it. Make sure it's your own work, okay? You know what I mean. Make sure it's your own work. And don't rely on something like this. Well, Professor Koshar, I cited and referenced these things word for word. That's not your own work, okay? What you want to do is it's called conceptualization, right? You read something, you take it within yourself internally, and then it comes out of you in your own words. And then still cite or reference where appropriate. Another thing when you do papers, don't ever write in the first person. Don't use words like I or me or phrases like I think that. That's first person. It's what you're doing is called scholarly research, which comes down to a writer researching work and then you present what? Those facts. So that has nothing to do with what anyone thinks about, particularly the writer, the author. It's the writer, the author, presenting the facts and citing and referencing them where necessary. Okay? I'll give you feedback on that. I want to back up to making sure your work is your own work. If you don't know this, you should not. You will now. That each one of your instructors, myself included, we use a software system called Turnitin. The school provides it to us, and it quite accurately scans work that's handed in, and it will tell us if it's been submitted before or taken out of another reference word for word. Okay, so I've been teaching this course for 10 and a half years. I think I've had maybe a handful of people out of over 2,000 students throughout that time basically plagiarize. Don't do that. Plagiarizing is pretty serious at Columbia College. You can actually be removed from the school. Forget getting an F. You're just removed from the school forever. So, any questions on work or how to do it, you contact me. Which leads me to your paper of choice. The last paper of the term. Make sure, I want it to be business ethics related. Okay? Business ethics related. So, you handing in a paper on your thoughts of gays in the military, that's an example of not being business related. Or your thoughts about the Second Amendment or gun laws, not business ethics related. Make sure there's a business ethics connection. I'll kick it back to you if it's not. And if you want any ideas, all you got to do is log on, browse the Wall Street Journal, look at the front page to the left on major headlines where they're listed, and pick any one of those. Those will always be, nearly in every case, business ethics related. And we've been having enough things going on too, right? The Volkswagen debacle cover up on the emissions control, Wells Fargo, that debacle, etc. So you got plenty of topics to pick from. Going over week 1, your assignment is to read chapters 1 and 2, and the discussion items were introducing yourself, and then having your Dropbox assignment on Kohlberg and Kohlberg scale. I've had great feedback from students that have handed in their work on Kohlberg, and my feedback to everyone generally is this: is that remember that Kohlberg scale, it's a living document, if you will. Okay, we move around that scale, rise or lower, depending upon our own maturity and our own situational maturity. In other words, were we in this situation before? Maybe we don't score as high or as low before. But I look at you taking this little assessment as a good baseline. Okay? Great discussion question. When being presented with an ethical problem you have not previously encountered, what criteria will you use to determine your action? A lot of outstanding responses. I really liked ones where people were writing about kind of like a step-by-step formula process. That's really good because it makes you think, right? You have to do this before you go to step 2 to step 3. Basically, the definition of ethics or ethical behavior is one being fair. Meaning, if you're a judge in a courtroom, are you doling out the same punishment to everybody the same way, or are you showing favoritism? Is what you're doing is legal? And the third item is, how do you feel about yourself the next day, particularly if your grandmother was to read about your actions on the front page of the New York Times. So that's kind of a definition of ethics. And with ethical behavior, you could be with ethical behavior, you could actually be doing something that's legal, but perhaps could it be unethical? Perhaps so. Yes, perhaps so. Week two is you read chapter 3. You've got a first paper coming up, and you've got a Dropbox assignment on Jeremy Bentham, and another discussion item. Keep up with this work, okay? And again, if you have any questions, you get in contact with me. I'll let you go now, and I'll check in with you next week, week 2. This is Professor James Koshar, your Management 368 Business Ethics Instructor, Columbia College, Columbia, Missouri Online Studies. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye now.